Now, we'd like to start SIAF2027 Open Talk, exploring the possibility of Moerenuma Park with artists. I'm Masami Hosokawa, Festival Director of Sapporo International Art Festival 2027. I'm happy to serve as today's MC. Thank you very much for coming to this event despite this bad weather. We are preparing for the Sapporo International Art Festival, or SIAF, scheduled to be held from January 16 to February 21st next year. Participating artists usually visit the site beforehand for research. And miraculously, artists who will exhibit their works in Moerenuma Park next year happen to be here in Sapporo now because of their research trip to Japan. So today, two artists and artist collective will tell us about their plans and ideas for their works and projects in SIAF 2027. This is the purpose of this talk event. And this event is supported by Embassy of Switzerland in Japan and that Dialogue on Art and Technology. Now, let me introduce our guests. First, Miss Laura NIEDER and Miss based in Switzerland. First, Mr. Marc DUBOIS. And Miss Laura NIEDER from fragmentin. Fragmentin has 3 members, so the third one is Mr. David Colombini, who couldn't come here today. Next is Mr. Masaki FUJIHATA. Mr. FUJIHATA is a media artist and also an executive director of that Dialogue on Art and Technology. And the third guest is sitting in the front seat, Mr. Yuima NAKAZATO, a fashion designer. He will talk after the break. Now, this is how we are going to proceed today. First, I will explain this art festival and Moerenuma Park, which will be a venue for the festival. Next, fragmenting will introduce the activities that will be translated consecutively. Then Mr. FUJIHATA will introduce that and his activities. That is an official partner of this festival. So he will explain that and also his activities. After that, we'll have a 10-minute break. And after the break, Mr. NAKAZATO will explain his plan and ideas for SIAF 2027. This event was planned to finish at 4 o'clock initially, but because we have more guests than our initial plan, we extended the event by 30 minutes. So we are scheduled to finish at 4:30. And if you have to leave at 4 o'clock, that's okay. And today's talk event will be archived and later video will be released on the internet. So if you have to leave early, you can see the rest of the talk on the internet. Now let me explain Sapporo International Art Festival. I've explained this several times at this place. So probably, please look at YouTube if you are interested in my explanation. So I'd like to focus on Moerenuma Park, which will be the venue. Sapporo International Art Festival, abbreviated to SIAF, is a unique triennial art event that introduces world's newest artworks to Sapporo. It started in 2014. SIAF has official names in three languages: Japanese, English, and Ainu. It's organized by an executive committee led by City of Sapporo. So chairperson is Sapporo Mayor Kazuhiro Akimoto. And this is the background of the festival. Then in 2006, the initiative for Creative City Sapporo started. We have many festivals in Japan. The preparation for this festival started much earlier. And the government's efforts to promote culture and art was an important factor too. And moreover, citizens' cultural artistic activities gained momentum at the time. So a year before the Sapporo was designated as a creative city of Sapporo, the Moerenuma construction began. Moerenuma opened in 2005. Moere, the name Moere comes from Ainu language, Moirepe, meaning quiet water. The construction of the park started in 1982 and it had a grand opening in 2005. So it took 23 years before the park officially opened. Now, please look at the website of the Moerenuma Park. Well, I wanted to show you this picture on the website. In his final years, he visited the place. The place at the time was a landfill. And the Sapporo City planned to convert the landfill into a park. So in 1988, he visited the place and he said, I will regenerate the land damaged by humans through art. That's my job. And he decided to undertake the project. So he made a scale model. You can see this model on the third floor of the glass pyramid. So what he left is only this model because soon after he made this model, he passed away. So after that, carrying on his intent, the construction continued and Sapporo City continued for 70 years of construction. So this is the background of the construction of Moerenuma Park. So in 2013, Sapporo was designated as City of Media Arts, a member of the Creative City Network of UNESCO. So into 2014, the first festivals were held. Now let's look at the artworks. So the first SIAF was held in summer 2014 with the guest director Ryuichi Sakamoto. One of the major works was Sensing Streams by Ryuichi Sakamoto and Daido Manabe, exhibited in Moerenuma Park. Also, installation titled Forest Symphony, which converted bioelectric potential to music, was installed. So these are trees in Moerenuma Park. So the bioelectric potential was converted to music. That was his installation. And in 2017 was the second SIAF, which was held in summer. The, the balloon-like sculpture was installed in the glass pyramid, which was created by Mr. Shiro Matsui. And director was Mr. Yoshihide Otomo. And he made an installation titled Without Record. So there are many record players are played without records. So it turned the glass pyramid into a musical device. So in 2017, there were more artworks. Inspired by Isamu Noguchi's vision of looking down the park from the universe, Saya of Love plus ArtSat and Mr. Ryusuke Ito exhibited their works inside and outside the pyramid. So the park used to be a landfill. So this fact inspired some artists, like in this installation by Mr. Ryusuke Ito. It was like one scene from anime, and many bicycles climbed the hill. Festival in 2020 was cancelled. So virtual plan was shown. 8 artists were supposed to join the festival, but it was cancelled. And this was a festival last time in 2024. Mr. Akira Makita offered an overwhelming visual experience using a special sound system in his work titled Over Billions of Years. And this Children's Sport Day in Future Star was held in the park toward the end of the festival. So there were some works very similar to fragmentin's work. Well, the snow was stored in a snow storage facility in the park. So it was Pin Nose by Yushi plus AATB that had a strong impact, although now many people saw it because of the shorter days of the festival. A robotic arm carves a block of ice into a reflective lens, creating light patterns that projected letters. This installation was in snow storage facility in the park. This installation was supported by Swiss Embassy too. And Manabe Daito, which I mentioned, also joined this talk event. So many projects have been held in Moerenuma Park. Now the theme for 2027 is Planet Snow. So the landscape in Moerenuma Park really reflects this theme. And artists today in this talk show will explain the ideas about the park. Now we'd like to ask Fragmentin to introduce their activities. Are you ready?
Thank you, Asami. Konnichiwa. Watashi wa suisu no artisto fragmentin desu. Kochira Laura desu. Watashi wa Marc desu. Davido wa koko ni imasen. Kyou wa omaneki itadaki arigatou gozaimasu. Fragmentin, nature and infrastructures. Now I switch in English. So, us three, we met at ECAL, the Lausanne University of Art and Design. Like David Colombini, Marc Dubois, Laura NIEDER. This is the team. And David will come next year for the festival. Our artworks generally takes the form of multimedia sculptures. Climate change and the impact of technology on society are recurring topics that we have. We also love to work a lot and reflect on infrastructures. And whenever possible, our sculptures are made out of recycled materials, mostly leftovers from the industry. Our artworks invite debate or reflection, raising more questions that they provide answers intentionally. We like to invade spaces outside of museums and white cubes, like natural landscapes, sculpture parks, or even in a church. In this way, our artworks can reach a different audience also, that extends outside our regular museum visitors. We like also to add contextual elements in our pieces and to get inspired by the artwork location. We are drawing our inspiration from infrastructure that support our modern daily life. For example, antennas, electric pylons, underground cables, or data centers. If you are interested in these topics, you can get these books, Tubes, from Andrew Blooms, for example. It speaks a lot about the hidden infrastructures that support internet, like the cables. Maybe you can find them in the library. Also, Shannon Mattern, an American professor, talks about this tourism of infrastructure in one of her articles. And this is a way of replacing our classic sightseeing by a more contemporary active visit of technical places. And this is with the simple goal to understand more how the world around us and the cities are managed and organized.
So today we will present 4 of our artworks. The first one, markers. We want to show that infrastructure can be a tension point for discussion and creations. So we have been invited by the National Hiking Club of Switzerland to create a site-specific artwork. The artwork was presented during an outdoor exhibition called Passage. The Passage is in Middle High Mountain at about 2,000 meters, and originally this passage was a path to transit goods between valleys of Switzerland. In this beautiful and preserved landscape, we can see an important power line for Europe. The line is like a link between the south and center valleys of Switzerland. And it was developed for Europe's constantly growing energy needs. So we created Markers, a monumental 17-meter high sculpture. It's the first of its kind to be installed on a power line tower. It talks about energy supply in the era of digital consumptions. It also speaks about the impact of infrastructure on natural landscape. And the sculpture is made out of metal rods, blue PVC tubes, but also aerial marker spheres. Usually, these spheres are attached to cables to make them visible for planes or helicopters. And the spheres have been painted electric blue. It's an artificial color we link to digital visual culture. And the sculpture represents an abstract character, a man or a woman climbing the pylon. This character is in the shape of a data character, like the one we would see from a digital tracking device. and bringing back this digital artifact into a remote landscape symbolically shows how digital has an impact on remote spaces on Earth. And the work is accompanied by an augmented reality app. With it, you can see the blue electric giant walking along the electric power line. A poem is read in French when you use the app, so I haven't translated that part, but you can still see the video. And finally, this is a short making of video.
最後に短いメイキング映像がございます。
Okay, this is it for this first project. Next one is called Global Wiring. Global Wiring is an artwork about post-human archaeology and making underground hidden infrastructures visible. Global Wiring is a sculpture that we stayed for 10 years in a sculpture park in Verbier in Switzerland. Verbier is a city in the mountains, difficult to maintain and very popular in winter. The artwork was made after a research residency, the same kind of research residency we are doing here in Japan. And the work is called Obsology, a mix of word, archaeology and obsolete. Below the ground of Verbier, you can find infrastructures. These infrastructures allow humans to live there, but these infrastructures changes over time. Water pipes for clean and dirty water remain nearly the same. Electric cables become bigger, TV cables disappear and are replaced by optical fiber. And all of these old cables and pipes are never removed due to economic reasons mainly. They then become an obsolete element hidden in the ground. In a hypothetical future, we imagine what we could retrieve if we dig the ice that would cover the region around the city. Embedded in the ice core, those hidden elements are highlighting this in the sculpture. They are a symbol of the hidden infrastructure that are needed for a city to exist. Paradoxically, we may find cables in the future, but not the data that was exchanged through them. The title Global Wiring, again, is a mix of words, global warming and wiring, and it's inspired by our hyper-connected world. Finally, global wiring, this ice core, is not ice, it's imitating ice. It's a glass sculpture made out of recycled materials. The colors of the glass changes according to different type of glass melted. From blue to green to transparent, mirroring the colors you can find in old ice cave. We choose ice also to speak about water, because in Verbier, water consumption is very high. And even special infrastructures are needed for the city to provide for everyone, especially in winter. But also, ice is preserving things, and ice can be studied by scientists to learn about the past, and that's the idea. This is just another version we made that can be exhibited indoor and travel to different locations.
So the next artwork, N1 Observatory, is about also making hidden infrastructure visible, and also the absurdity of hyperconnectivity. So N1 Observatory means Nature Observatory number 1. It's both a sculpture but also a virtual reality experience, and it was exhibited on top of a mountain in Switzerland. And the sculpture is made out of steel photovoltaic panel and mylar. And you can sit on it to rest for a bit when you have walked the 2,200 meter high summit. And if you manage to do so, you deserve to discover the VR experience. For this, you have to bring with you the VR goggles that you can get at the hotel below. So the shape of the sculpture is inspired by triangular shapes you can find on the top of the Swiss mountains. So these triangles used to serve as target to help measure the Swiss landscape easily. So the government, through a service called Swiss Topography, used this target to create precise maps. So this office, Swiss Topography, also provides a lot of data about Switzerland, like cellular networks, and it looks a bit like the image on the right. So these cellular networks are also sustained by antennas, and you can find them everywhere. So we were interested to make all this hidden infrastructure visible. So we created another iteration of this site-specific artwork, which is called Nature Observatory number 2. So it's called number 2 because it's another location, so it's a new set of contextual data. So in a remote area, like a mountaintop, you would expect to have no network reception. But in Switzerland, it's so dense that everything is covered by cellular networks. N1 and N2 show this through the VR experience, where you can see the landscape in a new way. So the landscape appears like a point cloud, an image made of many dots. So the cellular data, they are added to the map, and they end up creating a new landscape by reshaping the original mountains. In the video, when it's white, it's the normal landscape, and when it becomes pink and green, it's the cellular networks that change the topography.
Last project we will present is called Artificial Arcadia, Measured and Adjustable Landscapes. Artificial Arcadia is the Swiss pavilion we made for the Quadriennale of Performance Design and Space in Czech Republic. It was made in collaboration with Cosmos Architects. It is a performative space that represents and talks about Switzerland. We'll leave a bit the video. So this artwork speaks about the landscape and stereotypical view of Switzerland. Postcards with pristine and peaceful landscape, green and snowy mountains. But Swiss mountains are high technology places with complex and man-made mechanisms everywhere, also sometimes well hidden beneath the ground. All of this infrastructural landscape is a new kind of landscape in itself. The design of our artwork is inspired by this aesthetic of Swiss man-made infrastructure such as tunnels through mountains, solar panels, irrigation systems, snow cannons, ski resort installation, avalanche protection infrastructures, electrical networks. We try to see those infrastructures in the landscape with a different set of eyes, like if they were artworks. Another infrastructure that also inspired the piece is these white blankets that have been put over the glacier to avoid or delay the melting. So this is a real practice we have in Switzerland, and it's a real image. It's not an art piece, this one. And lastly, these construction metal rods were another inspiration. They are used to show the shape of the future building in Switzerland. They are a political object, typical from Swiss, that announce and debate the planning of new building. And political because before the construction starts, citizens can see and oppose to the construction if they disagree. So you can see the four rods on the outside and the white fabric used to represent the mountain inside this pavilion. And finally, the visitors could enter the space and their presence would have an impact on it. The fabric will start to go down as if the snow is melting. People can also sit on the bench and be observer of the tourists, observer or tourist in the landscape. And people can also enjoy the view of the landscape in the screen. We will skip this small part. And lastly, the data we were seeing on the screen is like data from Switzerland, because in Switzerland we have really precise data on everything, on snow, on houses, trees, altitudes, and we even scan the Matterhorn in 3D.
Finally, this is just a teaser for what we're gonna show after, but it's the images we found on the internet about Japan, about what we wanted to see before coming on the residency. Thank you very much.
ご清聴ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much. That's very informative, and we learn how they are working. And next, Masaki Fujihata. So please start. And first, he's going to explain about the data, and then he will explain more. I'm Masaki Fujihata. I have been teaching at school at Keio University and Tokyo University of the Arts. Newly, new department was set up, and after that, in 2005, and Yokohama Art University set up a new department, so that I worked for the creation of those places. And also, I'm very busy working abroad as well. But this is not so popular among people. And I am very active in Switzerland, in Geneva, and head is the name of the art museum. And so I talked about this to them, so they knew some of the teachers of the school, and is we use a GPS, and my interest is reversal when I was at place. So when I have this mobile phone, and after moving 100 meters, so we may catch uh, other things, other frequencies. So for sometimes, so it says, so welcome to Switzerland, welcome to France, or because network sometimes overcome or pass the border of countries. So that happened to us. So when we think about borders, we don't know exactly. So because the situation of Japan is different from European country, so especially in Switzerland. So first of all, so let me explain what that. This is a project I'm working for. Before I retired, before I reached the retired age, I retired and already a long time has passed. And technology and art and also west and east. This is not included here, but I want to make sure at this point because project I had in overseas. So sometimes, so nobody care abroad, but when I say the same thing in Japan, sometimes something occurs. So that I want to teach these things to younger generations. So when I try to do so, so many my students says something negative, but all pocket. So first of all, so I let me change. So first I have a lecture. I had lecture to the Golden Week. So I have lecture everybody. So because now I'm preparing for the next project and I want to get 15 new members and next January on the 15th of January. So I want to uh, come to this Sapporo Art Festival and I will have exhibition with the 15 members. And then I want to take that to New York City. And also we are supported by the supported officially. And this is the thing of the lecture I usually have. And so there are seven issues I always think about. And so the first thing I Yukufi is he is a person so who is very active in Europe, Belgian skill. So he studied with him, and when I had a project with him in 2015 was like that. Uh, we established good relationship, and now this is uh, I'm I'm calling for a new member for that project member. And next one is so this is gay for technology, and next east and west, east and west. So this is all characters we used in the past. But the current character of gay is art. This is newer one, but this is not old one. So this is very different character. So maybe from the beginning of 12th century, we started to use a simpler version. So, but actually, so the later is the name of the grass used for the insect repellent, and also this has a meaning of reap or cultivate, so that cultivate your heart. And as for the letter of west, so and if you see the bird and you see the cage, because bird come back to the cage. So, but still we are using this symbol as west, but actually we don't know about the letter of east. And when we think about what modernity is, so in modern times, so Western culture came to Japan, And we started to study and learn Western culture from the Meiji government, but still this tendency is lasting. So first of all, I want to ask you again, what is modernity? So we need to know this issue and also insight. So first, and also we want to know what was thought about in the east side of the world. So without knowing this, we are in the big world, so we cannot understand the concept. So when we see this page is from the 15th century Renaissance started, and the basic part of was in the many field and science, art, and technology and history. But background of these fields are uh, law of causality. So what caused that? So thinking this issue is very important and relating to the history. And also science is something similar. So in science, think we will think about cause when something happened, and also subjective and objective, uh, like something like environment and human. So we usually divide into two things. Or other thing is time and space. And Scott Lash, he is British person, and he taught at Goldsmiths and cultural studied. So he studied the subject. So I have relationship with him. So these three things make this world worse. So this is what he is saying. So I have no idea if he said we don't have the resolution, but I was so surprised to hear that. And suddenly, this is a Moerenuma Park. So last November, so I visited Moerenuma, and I thought this is very good site for the art festival. And Isamu Noguchi designed the park. And why I chose Moerenuma. So before I explain that, I need to talk about myself. In 4 years ago, so I had exhibit in Los Angeles by myself. An American Japanese uh, consent camp uh, was set up just before war ended, and that was the theme of the exhibition. And AR was used for the exhibition, and so the American Japanese were sent to concentration camp just before that, just before they get caught on the bus. So we uh, made the scene by using AR. So I checked uh, what those people thought about, even though I researched well, but I couldn't find out. But I found some of the interesting pictures, so that based on those pictures, I thought about what I should do for the exam. So this is one of the picture. So you see the reflection in her eyes. So this picture has whole body. She's very pretty, but I want you to concentrate on her eye reflection, because her eye reflection show that some people, so cameraman or photographers or some people are officer, military officers, or so her reflection shows that she was surrounded by um, white persons, officers and photographers. So that's what I was so surprised to see in her eyes. So that her eyes kept what happened her to her. So so this was 150 years ago. No, 80 years ago. it happened, so that this picture still keep the fact.
I'm showing the video I made. April 1st in 1942 in the morning, people were sent to internment camp, and the situation was revived this way. The people in the picture were made in the movie, use photometric. Only cameraman is moving. I used photos, but in the picture, cameraman is not in the picture. Especially press photographer, they don't catch cameraman in the pictures. That's a manner. But actually, a camera was there. If you look at the pictures, you don't realize that. But when I revived the situation, I included the cameraman who was there. So those people were hunted by hunters. This is in front of the museum. That's the data from screen capture. In the background is current landscape. This is a revival of the situation. I investigated the pictures to create this film. So to be here is the title of this work. So the people in the past are revived in these days, and also the cameraman. So documentary photographers took pictures. So the past scenes appear in the present scenes. It's not overlapping, but exist simultaneously. So what's happening today is not much different from what happened 80 years ago. So why people can do these things to the same people? So there's an Oakland Museum near San Francisco. So we are going to have an exhibition there in September. In Oakland too, there were Japanese Americans. They were sent to camps on a bus. When I was creating this work, there was a film which captured Japanese Americans who were sent to camp. And it was Isamu Noguchi who helped it. He was assistant in South California University. So he took records of the people who were sent to Manzana. He was very democratic person. he was very angry about this people sent into the camp. He was not sent to the camp, and in July 1942, he volunteered to be sent to the camp, and he really went to the camp. And he wanted to do the design of the camp. Actually, the organization who managed the camp said they didn't have money, and Japanese Americans who were in the camp said, "Who is he?" Because he is Japanese American, but from the point of Japanese, he looked American. So he wanted to create a kind of utopia, a community where people can maintain their dignity, cooperating with each other. Maybe he was too naive. He was successful already at the time. So beyond creating sculpture, he wanted to make a place for people. Eh, So he volunteered to be in the camp, but it was difficult to go out. So it took a year for him to leave the camp. So I thought there is some link with my work. This is a picture of Moerenuma Park. It looks very similar to the design of the camp Noguchi made. So Isamu Noguchi wanted to convert the camp to a place where people are in the center. And he wanted a landscape plan that redesigns it as a cultural community. People were forced to be sent there. So people really didn't agree with his idea, I suppose. Probably he wanted to experiment the community, which he imagined to be an ideal one. And he said sculpture can be a means of shaping the world. So with this background, behind my work, there's always Isamu Noguchi and his ideas. So without separating subject and object, I want to create a field. It's a philosophical term, a word where subject and object are not separated. That is what I called field. And I want to create an exhibition that is like a field, that functions as a field. This is a very modern building. It's a geometric shape. You don't really see in the natural environment, very artificial object. So when you think about a field, there is also the word affection. Well, there is a Japanese scholar named Watsuji Tetsuro. He proposed the idea of milieu. And the Mr. Augustin Berg, who worked in the embassy in Japan for a long time, was influenced by Mr. Watsushi Tetsuro's idea, and he used the word milieu. Milieu in English is environment. So if that's inside of the pyramid, I want to focus on the window. The I want to perceive the environment with the window as a keyword. A window is made of glass, and it prevents the cold air from coming into inside of the room. The present day, at present, glass doesn't look like it exists there. But in the 18th century, what we call vintage glass were used. And it's different from present day glass. And glass itself speaks about its existence. Nowadays, we don't see if glass exists there. So the glass separates inside and outside. In a glass pyramid in Moerenuma Park, the glass expanded and all the walls became windows, glass. So I'd like to nullify the glasses. I want to show the landscape visible, which the glass prevents us from seeing. The philosopher Hui, whom I met the other day, talked about this. He said, window becomes mirrors, then glass. This is the fifth session of lecture series of that. So I'd like to explain a little. The window is a square glass. At the time of Renaissance, the paintings used perspective And probably that made ordinary citizens be aware of the window. Usually you can see outside through window. In the paintings, especially at the time or beginning of Renaissance, they used one-point perspective. So what you can see is controlled in this picture. It's just like controlling, it's a technology controlling people and managing people. So window is created by paintings, and paintings are used as a technology to control people. Then the mirror appeared. Mirrors are used for microscopes and also for cameras. Well, the cameras used to be called picture mirror, and it creates images. The mirror reflects yourself, so it makes you think about yourself. Self-reflection happens. Then lens appears. It's to generate things. Maybe half of you use this. You use Microsoft Windows. So Windows is a name. That's very interesting. So through this desktop, you see the world through this desktop. So probably it is politically controlled. It's a distorted image of the world. And when the internet appeared, people said it's a start of a new democracy, but it went the other way. So the world moved to the other direction. The simulation, everything is simulated. We still see the world through windows. This is the last slide. Well, we can think about through Moerenuma Park and Isamunoguchi. And Sapporo moved from ancient cultures into Western style modern life almost overnight. That's the formation of Sapporo. The Japanese government thought without colonization, the country cannot be an advanced country. So maybe the government at that time wanted to make Sapporo a colonized place. And then it annexed Korea. And in Sapporo, Ainu culture existed, but it was alienated. The government at the time brought Western culture into Japan. So Western culture, which didn't have anything to do with culture in Tokyo or Osaka. So this place is a very good place. We can reflect on what's modern. And Isamu Noguchi is considered to be a modernist. Why? He had American father and Japanese mother, and he felt that he didn't belong to anywhere. He didn't have a homeland. When he went to Hiroshima, he wasn't being useful because he was regarded as an American, and he went to the United States. He couldn't be the part of the community. So when we look at the computer desktop, we forget where we are. I was making this slide at the hotel, and I wasn't aware that I was in a hotel room. So the desktop becomes our environment. So the desktop becomes milieu, and we forget where we actually are. This is the third is technology can separate us from the world around us. So Isamu Noguchi and Moerenuma Park is a very good place to start thinking. What can we see through the window? I have this kind of concept, so I will use the next 1 year to create my work. So when you come to the site, please look through the window. So the Nishida Kitaro Road, Logics World Place. And some people said that's not enough. So the difference between place and field is discussed. The field, the word is used, for example, magnetic field. So something enters in a place, then it becomes a field. So art is often said interactive, but what we call interactive art doesn't produce any response from the viewer. So it's not really interactive. So paintings can be an interactive art. If you viewer internalize the paintings, it becomes interactive. Interaction happens between a painting and a viewer. So interactive art is supposed to cause some kind of reaction within the viewer in their bodies. So in a true sense, we have to think.
Thank you very much. So always he is talking like this, and from now on, and before we have the second half, we have a break. So to 3:35, we will resume. So please be back here by 3:35. Thank you very much. So now we are starting from the beginning. So Mr. Yuima Nakazato, he is going to start his presentation. Thank you. So I'm fashion designer Nakazato. So I had opportunity on February 6th, but this time let me introduce myself again, and also so what I'm thinking about, I want to talk about one by one. I I usually introduce myself as fashion designer, but I myself, it's not a perfect word, but I'm not interested in trends or some those things. I'm interested in clothes. So especially my question is why humans are wearing clothes because other living creature in the world so they don't wear. So human is only one living creature on the earth. So my question is why we are wearing. And for example, other animals' fur we sometimes use or sometimes I wear made from plants or oil or so to put many layers. So this is a very unique living creature on the world. So this is my question always, and my this is my interest. And also, so several thousand or 10,000 years we needed to reach current situation. So that what about after several thousand years? So after long times, so I'm very excited to think about that. So that's my motivation for my work. Now you can see the picture taken in Finland. I traveled Finland. So always before I start working, making something, I need to get an inspiration from traveling. So this is a north area in Finland, and I had so I luckily had an opportunity to have exhibition, so that before I had it, so I wanted to get inspiration traveling. And especially the area is very cold, so that I thought it was very good opportunity to think about first origin. People, humans started to wear from continent to when they went to the north. So maybe when people felt very cold, maybe they got far from other living creatures. So what's beginning, it is said that. And, the first, so let me show you people are wearing. So still, so they felt very cold. So they're my friend and models, so traveled together. So they became we are wearing clothes. And gradually I will move on to the main theme, talking about something. So I requested him to be naked. So, but it was very hard for them. So we need to have a relationship, a good relationship, and we needed to trust each other. So just before taking picture, he undressed. And how our body is weak because we cannot survive without clothes in those harsh climate. So that we realize how we are weak in harsh situation and circumstance. So we need to have some protection. Um, So after experience that, I appreciated clothes we have now again. So, but first origin was protection, but gradually that was changed to uh, keep our body in a good position. Or but so so how to protect our body? So in wartime or in many situations, there was one of the important phase, which is protection. So when it can be armor at the battlefield. And another thing is, this is the interesting point in clothes. So we generate community, a society, and in a community, so it can be a communication tool. So it's also a very interesting thing we have. So when we think about current world situation, sometimes we want to cover our eyes. The words or so when we decide, make the decision. So wearing clothes is one of the important elements and part, and so especially men. So military from military wear to the suit. So when men make an important decision, they need protection. Sometimes suits, sometimes war armors. So that can be changed by the forms of the design. So this is one of the big theme in my mind. So it can be seen as armor, but this is made from ceramics. Each one is, shiny one is platinum. So, so it's very sensitive. It can be broken easily. So it cannot be used as armor, but so it looks very strong, but well, made of ceramics and man is wearing. So I've got inspiration from Finland, and this is very delicate armor. So this is one of the non-verbal communication. I want to put many elements to the clothes. This is one of the non-verbal communication method. So that this is one was my main theme to convey to the world. This is also made of ceramics. So this is a man and he's wearing a dress. And this is in the middle of the fashion show. I dig the dress and then a model put on the dress. So the ceramic can last thousands years or sometimes 10,000 years. But actual clothes decay very quickly comparing to ceramics. But if we use ceramics for making clothes, it can last for a long, long time. So a long time after a long time, so future people may dig one a ceramic dress, and those people would think, oh, all the ancient people wore a ceramic dress. So that, yeah, this is one of the imagination, and this is my message in my design. And also mass production, I mentioned before, and mass production and mass consumption of clothes. This is exaggerated. So this is it's very easy to get clothes. This is good for us, but we need logic uh, to make easy cheap clothes. So we need to make more and more to reduce the prices and costs. So this is going on currently. So there are pros and cons for the both sides. So from the one side, so I don't want to say it's bad, but there are lots of negative fact. And so one of Kenya, this is one of the country lots of clothes are abandoned. So I went there for having field work, and I traveled in Kenya. And this is a picture. And I traveled many countries, and finally I reached Kenya. And lots of discarded clothes I brought from Kenya, and I broke down it and mixed together. And I I'm working as a field of haute couture. It's most expensive fashion field, but I wanted to use those cheapest materials from the abundant clothes, and then I made the most expensive clothes by using those cheap materials. So this is not casual. So to boost the value uh, of the clothes by using less valued materials. That was my trial and kind of experiment. And depending on the times, so value of the clothes and designs are different and changing. So, so one time, women started to wear trousers. That was one of the watershed and the fashion design and history. So I'm thinking about current fashion in Japan. It's about it happened in the past 150 years. So when we think about this, maybe 150 years after now, so maybe may we would wear very different clothes. So this time I'm visiting in Sapporo, and I've got a chance to go to Moerenuma Park, so that in these places I want to think about together, think about clothes we are wearing and future clothes together. This is what I'm thinking hard. And Moerenuma Park was a landfill. So there's still lots of garbage sleeping under the park. This motivates me to think about something new and different. But on the side, so there is a park. So this concept is something relating to my design and my concept. So this is very meaningful for me. So still, my idea is very vague and not so clear. But now I'm thinking.
So we don't have much opportunity to think about our clothes. I have a project on a garbage can. When I went to Germany, there were 4 garbage cans, ceramics, metals, and in the Keio University, I had a class to think about garbage separation. We have a newspaper clipping service. And for example, you throw away different newspapers to different garbage can. And if you, when you throw the bottles of beverage, depending on the manufacturer, you throw it in a different can. 3 years ago, we were studying about plastic disposal. So some people are using recycled materials to make outfit. So we often say SDGs and recycle culture, but without thinking about this consumption culture, we have to change it. I think we need to have more respect for objects, materials. So when we look at the worldview of ancient people, they have more respect for objects. For example, Ainu people didn't throw away anything. They used everything. In Honshu, the religion is different. They have ceremony to help a god. But in Ainu culture, a deity exists everywhere. For example, a bear becomes a deity. It's not a bear obsessed by a deity. Bear itself is a deity and comes to your house. So present day people don't have much respect for objects. So sending message through objects is important. So in this respect, Mr. Mikasawa is really right. I think the respect for objects is very important. How can we make people feel more respect toward objects? One answer is if people can feel the story, then they can have respect for things. The people believe in the stories and have sympathy toward that story. So if we have objects that contain story, then people can have respect. For example, if you have a camera that was presented by your close friend, you have respect for that camera. Even if the sweater is expensive, you don't have respect. But given by your important person, then you have respect. So designers need to design a story. That's the important job.
So do you have any comment after listening to a presentation of Mr. Nakazato and FUJIHATA?
I really like your speculation with the ceramic dress. I think it's really interesting, and this speculation aspect is also a huge part of our work. And it's interesting for me to see that done by a fashion designer or like another way to express yourself. And yeah, speculation is for me a good way, like to think about the future, but also to reflect back on what is happening today. So, thank you for sharing.
If I can also add something, I really like this idea of fragility and respect, and also especially going with what also Fujihata-san said before about like this idea of windows. Like when we have no respect behind the window, we don't see any fragility because nothing is breaking. And I like this idea of the lack of respect should maybe break our screens, you know. And it's a kind of a nice image. And with your idea of clothes, with the ceramic, is kind of this thing, and it could be applied also with this idea of windows and the fragility of windows. So yeah.
The window and clothes, it can be connected as a metaphor. And we often use a bubble sheet to wrap things. That's a protection because the things are fragile. So we use those sheets, bubble sheet to cover it. So the close is to prevent fragile things from breaking down. So that's a respect for a thing. So that's a kind of interface. So interface can be a window. So we had sympathy. I felt sympathy toward Mr. Nakazawa's talk. I wasn't sure that the talk will synchronize this much, but all the talk were really closely connected. Maybe from fragmentin would tell us some ideas about their work after you conducted your research trip.
Okay, now that you understand a bit better the topics that we were interested in, that we like the tension between infrastructures, nature and human, we can continue on this research. Coming to Japan, this is what we were interested in. We were fantasizing about things, of course, only through internet, mainly infrastructures linked to snow management, nature, and nature managed by human. But now, of course, it's changed a lot after our trip.
So before coming to Japan, we really wanted to see those infrastructure that supports the vegetation during the snow season. We think it is very delicate and it's a new kind of sculpture in itself. And we like this idea of supporting something, of prevent it to go away. It reminds us of this idea when you try to grasp snow in your hand and it melts away.
Also, Moerenuma Park is full of geometries, and that's something we are sensible with. And same as Sapporo city is like a grid design city. But after visiting the park in winter, we really liked how the snow is reshaping everything. Each angle becomes a bevel, each line becomes a smooth curve, each cube becomes a small amount of snow. So snow seems to destroy barriers, it creates new paths and connects disjointed areas. And suddenly you can pass over a wall thanks to the snow that is creating some bridges.
So on the next slide there is some sound, so I will let you hear the sound first and then explain. So this is inside the snow melting pit in Sapporo. So we want snow to be somewhere it's not, and we don't want it where we find it. So for Sapporo, it is a huge problematic topic to how to manage snow. So we wanted to see the infrastructure to manage snowfalls. So we visited this snow melting pit in the center of Sapporo. And we think it's especially interesting in Sapporo to not want this much amount of snow and to have this complex solution to move it somewhere else. But also in the summertime, you value it and you use it for a cooling system. And this space, this snow melting pit, we really like this inspiration because on the top left, you can see the movement of the snow floating on top of the water. We find that super beautiful, actually, super strange movement. Also, we really like the sound of the place, because you can hear the water drop, but you can also hear like a repetitive humming, like the water pumps, they're coming on and off and on and off. And we like this repetitive sound because like it's a cyclic sound, and a lot of events in nature are happening in cycles, like the cycle of water, for example.
And finally, all of these infrastructures for moving snow also raised this kind of question. Can we teleport a snowflake? It's a bit strange. We wanted, after discovering the work of Ukichiro Nakayawa, we started to think about the snowflake as something precious and unique. And maybe by creating a device, we would be able to speak about the complexity of moving snow through a small yet complex device, if we can teleport one. So we visited his previous office in the University Museum and saw the machine he invented in the Sapporo Science Center. And this also changes the narrative of the snow. It makes the snow precious again because we are looking at a little quantity at a specific moment.
And while we were in Sapporo, we also made some research on materiality because we like to get inspired by materiality from local places. And as snow is a very difficult material to work with, we found another material that also spoke to us. Is it this black sand that you see everywhere and you use to create a path to walk on the snow? So we want to consider it maybe as precious as one snowflake can be. So we are thinking about transferring maybe the shape of a snowflake onto a grain of this black sand. Also, this black sand is a bit the opposite of snow in terms of colors, like the snow is white, the black sand is black. And last inspiration is when the snow melts, the only thing that is left over is this black sand, so it stays after the snow.
So we are interested by these different perceptions that we can have on snow. As we said before, snow is where you don't want it to be. So for you here in Sapporo, it seems really annoying, like the huge mountain of snow you find in the city. On the opposite, for example, in Switzerland, snow is not where we want it to be. It is really precious, as this one snowflake on the left image of the first snowflake artificial made by Yukichiro Nakaya.
So you are not the person living in Sapporo, so but today we have two persons from fragmentin. So so in Sapporo, it's very important to control snow, how to move or how to remove. But you said that it is very precious and important thing. So there is differences between way of thinking here and Switzerland. So today we had very special lecture. So this is one of the reasons. But so thank you very much after listening to the commented lecture. So please say something. So your approach is so that's uh, so what we don't realize, but include like influence or something always exists, but you came from other place, so that you show us. So suddenly we realize the existence of those things we usually don't realize. So so in Lausanne, I coincidentally when I visited Lausanne, I saw your artworks, like your work, so gender or so I right and left and many factors, and it I could move some part. So once I moved a little bit, so all the part started to move. So it reflects maybe our way of thinking. So we always see just a part of our thinking. So everything is connected and relating, so that this part I want to stop. But once we uh, move a little bit, everything start moving, and it showed. So yeah, we this connection in many things. So it's very simple and it showed me. So if I use the content of the art of, of you, so we may think about something good artwork for the festival. This is what I'm excited. So now Mr. Nakazaki said GAT, this is artwork. So that's Ogawa Hideaki, director. So he exhibit those things, and already we visited the place and saw those. And one was a way of thinking of one person that was based, and Isamu Naguchi and the person has the relationship each other. So and when we received that this offer from Embassy of Switzerland, so maybe I thought you may have interest in Moerenuma Park. So, but everything is connected to each other now. I realize that. So the Mr. FUJIHATA. So everything is connected. Yes, that's true. Yes, I agree with that. And Nakaya Ukichiro, he is originally from Canada, from Ishikawa Prefecture in Japan. And logic is Japanese very important philosopher, and he said, and the same time, so we were in the same place. He was a senior or younger, so I think we knew each other. But another famous person. So this is my personal interest, and from Kata during Meiji period, great scientists, philosophers, and astronomers, and those great person appeared in Daisetsu as a yeah, it's then Buddhism started in the place and spread it. And one of the another sect of Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu or Ikkoshu, but Jodo Shinshu is very unique sect in Japan. So we started in India, they came to Japan, but that's very different from original. Ikkoshu is different. So it's lasted about 100 years. During that time, so a believer were at sunrise. So there, so so the area was very democratic area. So I don't know the conclusion. So those people stimulate people in other part of Japan and left great influence. That was not Tokyo. So Tokyo is a place that consume a lot of things. So I worked in many places in the world, but I need to see what culture Japan has like that. And another thing is I want to support. So you came from Switzerland, and so your approach is a very European. And so yeah, you observe the objectives and you think in your feeling and you think about, and that can be a platform to think about. It's very normal. But in Japan, so artwork should be on the wall and that should be in the flames. So this is obsession from the Meiji period. So, but they seem to be very different. But Antonio Mutelas, Mutlas. So he's an artist. So he had a research-based project. So so he checked many textbook of the school in many countries. So each textbook shows a different history. So this is virtue in the field of aesthetic in Japan. So this is in Japan. So we lost the core part of the aesthetic. Aesthetics, a genre of aesthetic is uh, improve, improve and nurture sensitivity. What many Japanese people misunderstand as that's a thing we need to learn beauty. So that's different. So so that misunderstanding set a wall in our mind to understand many things. So, so agriculture is so culture in Japanese is so in English literacy. So it's different. So when we think about we see ideographic letter and in Japan, so culture as a foundation. So even though people have money, so those people don't come. So people gather because of the culture. So one of the cause of that was a mistranslated part. So that is still um, obstacle for Japanese people to understand those important things. So through our sensitivity or way of thinking, so it should be improved. So this is the Japanese side of understanding.
Most of these translations were done in Meiji period. It's about 150 years ago. And then several of our term was very bad way translated. Like a culture. Culture is based on agriculture. So development is, and making a platform is a very important concept for the culture. But the culture was translated into literate. Bun is a text, and transformation is a kanji, two kanji. These kanji meaning is literate. So literate, like a European, was the concept of this translation. So then we lost the important concept of cultivation was lost. And also beautiful art and art is a different. Fine art and art is different. But you are the artist, modern contemporary artist. But we've been still could not differentiate between the old fine art and contemporary art. So your way is a research. Research is how to see the world differently. It's a development. But most of the people, when they attend the museum, or this is the museum for the beauty, where is the beauty? So it's a big discrepancy. Discrepancy exists. Yeah, so then that is another aspect we have to educate the audience.
I want to react on what you just said regarding beauty, because I think this is something we tried at least to show in our work, that we also like to find beauty where there is no intention of beauty at all, like those practical man-made infrastructure that were never intended to be beautiful. I mean, now maybe some are, but I mean, the one we sometimes like, they are not intended to be beautiful. But if you if you twist your way of looking at the world, then you can also find beauty in things that are not meant to be.
The beauty and evolution. How can we develop our sense to feel the beauty? It's a fundamental question. Through this kind of talk, event, or festival, from different perspectives, through art, we can look at the world we see every day differently. And maybe taking 1 year, we can foster different kind of view within the audience. That's my hope. So we are coming close to the end of the talk. And I know we want to hear more from these artists. But to conclude the show, I'd like to invite some comment from each artist. First, Marc, please.
Yeah, wow. I think it's all of what have been said is really interesting for us, especially like it's a confrontation also, as Fujiha-san said, of culture. So it's also a different way of understanding stuff, and it's we have to learn of how it's working here, but also how you make the things work. I don't know if it, yeah. And so for us, the last part we have to say is like thanks, Azabi, Swiss Embassy, like all SIAF team. And you, arigatou gozaimashita.
And I just want to add that we cannot wait to be welcome to Planet Snow and discover it next year.
Thank you very much. This talk was very stimulating, and it was a good opportunity to learn the perspectives from artists from overseas. And Mr. Fujihata has a deep knowledge about art, so it was a great opportunity for me to hear his talk. And Sapporo has a very special environment, and I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen and what will be created in this special place. That's was so. This talk event was a very exciting event for me. Thank you. This festival and that is held at the same time. And this Moerenuma Park is not only a venue for artworks, but we need to understand the background of this park. And without such knowledge, we cannot really create our work. So it was very lucky for us to have Fragmentin and Mr. Nakazawa with us in this talk. So we have 1 year to learn about the site. So together with all those artists, I hope to develop our ideas. And I would like to receive some suggestions or comments regarding where I should visit. This idea is a joint work. It's not owned by some individual. So this kind of festival is not for you to only see, but for you to participate in it. So this talk event was a precious opportunity for us all. So our project will be brought to New York. So our exhibition, which will be held in Sapporo, will be brought to New York. So Sapporo work originated in Sapporo will be shown in New York. Thank you very much.